last day greeted us for our first adventure on the 9th of April 2017. Ainhoe near Banbury in Northamptonshire was our first choice since the idea of the apricots growing up the houses in the village sounded so wonderful. The villagers used to pay some of their rent with the apricots which grew. On this sunny day we saw why the apricots grew so well against the Cotswold stone. Badby in Northamptonshire has a beautiful bluebell wood accessed through a majestic arch gate. On the bank holiday weekend in May they have tea and cake in the village hall for all the visitors. We got another glorious day for our visit to Crop Reedy in Oxfordshire. We had heard of this place because they hold an annual music festival but had never visited. We had a lovely walk around and whilst filming a beautiful chestnut tree ended up chatting to one of the residents of the village who was also admiring the tree and found out all about his job as a metal scientist. We arrived in Deddington in Oxfordshire early on a Sunday morning and were there in time for the bells to chime. The name is derived from the Old English for place of the people of Deda. Deddington Castle was the base of Odo of Bayeux, half-brother of William the Conqueror, a powerful man in England after the Norman conquest. We packed a picnic in our fold-up bikes and explored Edith Weston in the East Midlands on the banks of Rutland Water on a cold but bright day. The village is named after Edith of Wessex, the Queen of Edward the Confessor. It is a lovely, quiet and peaceful village. We visited Farnborough in Warwickshire on a beautiful autumn day with the leaves turning every shade of red and orange. Farnborough Hall, a National Trust property, sits nestled at the edge of the village with a beautiful lake and wood to walk around. We visited Great Chew in Oxfordshire on a cold, wet day, but it didn't alter our enjoyment of this chocolate box village. It is not a traditional Cotswold village. The stone is ironstone, which is a much darker red, and the cottages are thatched, whereas slate roofs are more common. We have driven through Hampton Lucy in Warwickshire many times but never walked round it. We had a lovely few hours walking round, again on a Sunday morning, so the church bells greeted us. We talked to a lady who had lived in the village for over 40 years. She told us of Charles Mars, a Victorian botanist who was born and educated in Hampton Lucy, and there are plants around the village planted in his honour. We parked on Grump Street in Ilmington in Warwickshire on one of the coldest days. There was another street called Frog Street. They make the aptly named Grumpy Frog cider from all the apples in the village. There are not many places beginning with J to choose from, so we picked John o' Gaunt, a small locality in Leicestershire, following along a busy road. We visited Kites Hardwick in Warwickshire on a cold and dreary Sunday. It is a hamlet in East Warwickshire on a busy road, but we managed to walk along the quiet public footpaths through the farm fields. One of the highlights were the sheep running towards the tractor thinking they were getting fed, when in fact the farmer was just going to cut the hedges. It was absolutely chucking it down when we visited Loxley in Warwickshire, and we got lost walking round a field, but it was wonderful to see spring on our way with snowdrops emerging everywhere. Robin Hood is mostly associated with Loxley in South Yorkshire, however some believe that Robin Fitz Otto of Loxley Manor was the true Robin Hood. We were excited to visit Meriden in the West Midlands, the supposed centre of England, and halfway through our project. The origins of this tradition are unclear. It is a cross between speculation and educated guesswork, but one theory states the legend as a marketing ploy by the new enthusiastic manager of the original Bull's Head in the 18th century. Cycling clubs seized upon the legend and made Meriden an epicentre of social cycling. It was a cold, blustery day when we visited Knapton on the Hill in Warwickshire, walking high up overlooking the beautiful Warwickshire countryside. Knapton is derived from the Old English knap, meaning hilltop, and tun, meaning settlement. We saw a windmill converted into a home and St Lawrence Church. In the graveyard of St Lawrence in Oxhill in Warwickshire, there is what is believed to be the only slave's grave in Warwickshire of a Negro slave called Myrtilla. We couldn't find the gravestone, however we had a lovely walk on a beautiful, crisp, sunny February afternoon, and we spotted the most random item on a village hall notice board: emu chicks. We had a lovely chat with the vicar of the church in Preston-on-Stour in Warwickshire, who told us a lot about the village and the area. It was a lovely peaceful village with the bells chiming. Quinton is a civil parish in the Stratford district of Warwickshire. It is made up of Upper and Lower Quinton. There were once several windmills in Rowington in Warwickshire, but only one remains, and its sails have been removed and the building converted into a house. In Tudor times, Rowington Manor was owned by Catherine Parr, the sixth wife of King Henry VIII. Possibly the most famous building is Shakespeare Hall, where a branch of William Shakespeare's family is reputed to have lived at the same time he was alive. It was rumoured he wrote As You Like It there. We visited Stretton-on-Dunsmore in Warwickshire on a bitterly cold day with the wind howling around us and flurries of snow. Stretton means settlement on a Roman road from the Old English street and tun, which in this case is the Fosse Way. The land drainage reformer Joseph Elkington was baptised at Stretton in 1740 and farmed nearby. A babbling brook runs through the village. We visited Thurleston in Warwickshire on an icy cold day. The name Thurleston comes from Anglo-Saxon meaning the enclosure belonging to a Viking called Thurla. The village has a windmill with no sails converted into a home and backs onto Draycote Water. The name Ullenhall in Warwickshire means Ulla's Nook, the Old English word hall meaning nook or corner of land, suggesting the hollow in which the village is situated, and Ulla being a personal name of Scandinavian origin. We loved visiting this little place, which was tucked into the countryside. There is a huge ancient oak tree known as the Crowley Oak at the edge of the village with a girth of over 7 metres. We were very excited when we came across the Vale of Evesham Blossom Trail in Worcestershire. There are 50 miles of AA signed route which take you through beautiful villages between March and May, either via car, cycling or walking. We started in Church Lench and walked through to the Lench orchard made of plum trees and a sprinkling of apple trees. It was wonderful to see all the beautiful blossoms. Wootton Warren in Warwickshire means farm near a wood belonging to Warren, which is an Old Norse name. We visited this place as we had spotted it on our visit to Ullenhall and we loved the name. It was a cold wet day, but we were captivated by the heron on the water near Wootton Hall and the oldest church in Warwickshire. There are no places in the UK beginning with X, so we improvised with visiting Exhall in Warwickshire. It was a real find tucked in the countryside near Ulster. We had a lovely peaceful walk around Yarningdale Common in Warwickshire on a cool spring morning. The common is significant for being the only part of Clarendon parish not under cultivation. It was also a lovely surprise to find a nearby aqueduct at the end of the road. It was originally built out of wood until it was destroyed by flooding in 1834. There are not many places beginning with Z around the UK, and Zouch in Nottinghamshire was the nearest to where we live. Zouch is a small canal settlement with several weirs and canals in the area, meaning the hamlet lies on several islands. The meaning of the name derives from the Old English term for poor ground. And so we finished our year-long project on Sunday the 8th of April 2018 in a tiny place with a spectacular weir.